When you talk about the world of golf, one number, just one, seems to float above everything else: 18. And that number is forever linked to one name, Jack Nicklaus. So today, we're going to dive in and explain the legend of the man they call the Golden Bear.
I mean, look at him. He's still this larger-than-life figure in the sport, an absolute titan. But how did it all start? How did the legend of the Golden Bear actually come to be? Well, let's break it all down.
So, what really makes a legend? Is it just pure, raw talent? Is it those epic rivalries that we all remember? Or is it just sticking around, sheer longevity? Or is it something else, something almost mythical? Well, we're going to explore all of that by looking at the career of the Golden Bear.
Okay, it all comes back to this one number, 18. You can think of it as the Mount Everest of golf. 18 major championships. It's not just a record, it's the benchmark. It defines his entire career, and it's the number that every single great golfer since has been chasing.
And, every king needs a throne and a title. His became the Golden Bear. Now, there's actually a bit of a debate about where that came from. Some say a sports writer described him as large, strong, and blonde, and it just stuck. Others think it came from his high school mascot. Honestly, who knows for sure? But either way, it stuck, and man, it just fit perfectly.
But here's the thing. Before he could sit on that throne, he had to take it from someone. Because when Jack Nicklaus showed up, the golf world already had a king. And his name was Arnold Palmer.
And wow, what an arrival it was. Seriously, Nicklaus wasn't just, good. He was a full-blown phenomenon. A two-time U.S. amateur champ, the world's top amateur for 3 years in a row. And get this. In 1960, while he was still an amateur, he almost won the U.S. Open. He finished second, and who won? None other than Arnold Palmer. You can't make this stuff up. The rivalry was practically written in the stars. And the contrast between these two guys, it was like something out of a movie. On one side, you had Arnold Palmer, the king, this charismatic, swashbuckling hero loved by the crowds. And on the other, here comes Nicklaus, the powerful, methodical challenger. This young upstart whose greatest weapon was his own mind. I mean, it was the absolute perfect setup for a rivalry that would change golf forever.
And then came the moment everything changed. It's 1962. They're basically on Palmer's home turf near Pittsburgh, and this 22-year-old kid, Jack Nicklaus, beats the king in a playoff to win the U.S. Open. Think about that. It was his very first win as a pro. The Golden Bear hadn't just arrived. He'd kicked down the door.
So, was that first major just a lucky shot, a flash in the pan? Not even close. It was the beginning, the start of one of the most dominant runs in the history of any sport. I mean, just look at this. Six Masters green jackets, 4 U.S. Opens, 3 Open championships over in the UK, 5 PGA championships. It's insane. He didn't just win, he won everywhere. On every kind of course, against every kind of competition, he just dominated the sport for more than 2 decades straight.
And it wasn't just about racking up wins, right? It was about complete and total mastery of the game. Okay, so winning all 4 majors just once is the legendary career Grand Slam. Nicklaus did that by the time he was 26. Amazing. But then he did it a second time. And then he did it a third time. Just stop and think about that for a second. To win all 4 of golf's toughest tests 3 times over, the only other person to ever do that is Tiger Woods. That level of consistency is it's staggering. It's almost unbelievable. He was so unbelievably dominant that by the end of the 1970s, the conversation changed. He wasn't just the best golfer anymore. He was named the AP Athlete of the Decade, the best athlete, period. He completely redefined what anyone thought was possible in golf.
But for all the wins and all the records, maybe the most incredible chapter of his entire story came when everyone, and I mean everyone, thought the book was already closed. All right, picture this. It's the mid-'80s. Jack is 46 years old, and golf years, that's ancient. He hadn't won a major championship in 6 long years. People saw him as an afterthought, a ceremonial figure who shows up, waves to the crowd, but isn't a real competitor anymore. The game had moved on. The new generation was here.
And then came Sunday at the 1986 Masters. He didn't just turn back the clock. He smashed it. He put on one of the greatest charges in the history of sports, a ridiculous 30 on the back nine at Augusta, 6 under par.
It was fueled by this legendary Eagle Birdie Birdie run on 15, 16, and 17 that had the entire world absolutely roaring. It wasn't just golf, it was pure, unadulterated magic.
The great sports columnist Thomas Boswell, he just captured it perfectly. He wrote, "Some things cannot possibly happen because they are both too improbable and too perfect." And that's exactly what it was. This wasn't just another win, it felt like the end of a movie. It was way too perfect to be real, and yet, it happened.
And when that final putt dropped, at 46 years old, he became the oldest Masters champion in history, a record that still stands today. That was it, number 18, his final major, a true fairy tale ending that sealed his legend forever, not just as a winner, but as a completely timeless champion.
But hold on, the story doesn't stop there. Because Jack Nicklaus's story doesn't just end when he stopped playing competitively. His influence actually, quite literally, shaped the world of golf as we know it.
He made this incredible transition, almost seamlessly, from being the most feared competitor on the course to becoming the conscience of the sport. He became its most respected elder statesman, a living, breathing symbol of what excellence looks like. And he's held that role for over half a century.
And when I say he shaped the world of golf, I mean literally. His design company has built hundreds of courses all over the globe, so his strategic mind is basically baked into the very ground people play on. He gives back, hosting his own massive PGA Tour event, The Memorial. He wrote Golf My Way, which is probably one of the best-selling golf instruction books of all time. I mean, the guy has been honored with the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the Congressional Gold Medal. This is a legacy that goes way, way beyond just sports.
So that brings us all the way back to that throne. Yeah, the 18 majors, that's the number, the statistical peak. But his career was so much more than a number, wasn't it? It was a story about rivalry, about decades of pure dominance, and about one absolutely impossible victory that defined an entire generation. So the question remains, with a legacy built on records that seem untouchable and a resilience that feels superhuman, will the Golden Bear's throne ever truly be challenged?